Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to the market close. And we got a red day. Most of the day was actually pretty good, but the red kind of creeped in here in that last candle. Oh boy. So what the heck is going on? Why are we in the red? Well, we got a lot going on. We're gonna talk about a lot of stuff. We had rate decisions today for both Canada and the United States. No surprise. No surprise. There was no rate cuts on either side of the border. We knew that for 100% for sure in Canada. But with the United States, there's been a lot of pressure on Powell to make a rate cut. Most of that pressure coming from the abominable orange man. And he's not giving in. He's holding steady. Now, I will say, in some of the documentation that came with the rate not changing in the United States, at least two members of the Fed did want a rate cut. So we're starting to get closer to a rate cut in the United States, but not now. It'll probably be in the fall. We had some other big news too this afternoon that may be more of what's going on with this big red candle that we're seeing on both sides of the border. And that is that copper tariff, that 50% copper tariff. Donald Trump signed the executive order today for that. So that actually he did this afternoon. So there's a little bit of stuff. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on. A little bit of angstiness going on with the market. So hopefully if you've been sitting on some cash, maybe this is provided to buy the dip for you. I don't know, but let's take a look. Let's actually head on into the market, and we'll see what's going on here. This, of course, is our TSX. So we are now down by 0.82%. The month is fine. We are. July was a very beautiful green month, an unusual green month, because normally in the summer things are not quite so bullish. This has been a very bullish summer. So, what can I say? We've only got about a day left of the month. So, unless something absolutely drastic happens, then there's nothing to worry about. Oh, I should mention this. I forgot to turn the night bot on, so the night bot's not going to let you know about Friday. But if you guys want me to come on Friday, that deal is of course open. So 4 supers or whatever combination, it could be 4 gifted subs. I'm easy. That will secure us a Friday show. Friday, of course, being June 1st. And June 1st, yes, that's the day all of these tariffs take effect. So I know there's a lot of people worried about what's going to happen on the market on June 1st. I am very curious to see how it goes. The fact, and this is what worries me, the fact that from Donald Trump signing a copper tariff into an executive order today, the fact that we've seen this big of a candle, and I mean this is a pretty big candle here. The fact that we can see that makes me concerned. It makes me a little concerned for Friday. Could we see a little bit of panic in the market? So basically, Friday, first day of August. Oh boy. We're gonna see what happens. And I can tell you right now, we already got our first super. Paul wants to make it happen. Paul's in with a super for $1. Thank you, Paul. That of course makes you the GOAT. So gotta love it. You gotta love it. All right, now switching to the S&P 500. Same idea, and you can see we got that same down. But you'll notice too, look at this. I don't know how well you can see this. If you're watching this on TV, probably pretty well. But if you're watching this on your phone, it's going to be small. but we do have a little bit of a green candle following it. So, we are getting some movement to the upside. So it's just showing me that that was just a simple reaction. So nothing to worry about, but maybe you got a deal. Maybe you got a deal. That's kind of what I'm thinking. NASDAQ, exact same thing. Exact same thing. And NASDAQ is, they're only down 0.13%. In fact, I'm pretty sure NVIDIA is up today. So we're going to see that when we get to the heat maps. Dow Jones, look at this. Everybody's doing the exact same thing. Now, the Dow Jones, they're not that far above that blue line. So if anybody is in danger of dropping below the blue line, it would be the Dow Jones. But honestly, I don't think anybody's going to drop below the blue line. I think we're good. I think we're in a green month for everybody. Now this is a candle. This is a express. It's not even express. It's like a fire pull down over on the Russell. But these are your small caps. So you know what? When people panic, you get more panic. You get more panic here. So that's the Russell. What can I say? Gold today. Gold not having a good day. Gold is down 1.65%. Silver's down. Silver, oh boy, silver's down even worse, 3.22%. Oil though, having a good day, up 1.67%. So, that's okay. And crypto was also down a little bit. All right. Let us jump into these heat maps. We will start with the TSX. And yeah, you can see the red in here. Really, really, really big time. Oh boy, there's nothing, like nobody is really standing out. And that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. Well, normally, if this is a market reaction, it's affecting everybody pretty much the same. So yeah, we got a little bit. We have some green. Down here, we have, for example, Stantec. Stantec is up 1.53%. Over here, we've got Bombardier. Do you remember us? We've been talking about defensive stocks. Well, this one's doing okay today, up 1.61. I don't see it on here as well, but CAE is up as well. I do know that because I'm holding them in one of my accounts. So not too shabby. Looking at the US, it's a sea of red. Other than, look at this, NVIDIA up 2.07%, Broadcom up 1.88. So yeah, it's not that bad. Tesla's down 1.39%. So what can I say? All right, over to crypto. And yeah, it is mostly red. It's not deep. We're not deep in the red. Bitcoin is down 0.53, Ethereum 0.17, Solana down 3.10. Now there are so many crypto coins. The altcoins, or crap coins as I like to call them, I like to on the show just grab a coin I've never heard of so that we can talk about it. It's not going to be a good thing for that coin. Someday I'm going to get sued. Zero Lend. Oh boy. What a name. Zero Lend. Like, come on. Lend me some common sense and let's not get involved in this coin. I don't know what it does. Honestly, I don't even care what it does. But look at this. It's worth like fractions of a fraction of a penny. It's not worth much. I don't know what it does. Is it some kind of a financial coin? I don't know. But I will say this. These are the coins that will lose you big time money. So when you're looking at crypto, a lot of these crap coins, some of them are going to rug pull you. Some of them are just going to, they're going to live a tiny bit on the hype and then they're going to die. So make sure you know what a coin does. Read the white paper. Make sure that it makes sense to you. Now, if this is part of a game, and you play that game, well, then it might make sense to you. But for the most part, if you're looking to invest in crypto, stick to your big boys. Stick to your Bitcoin, your Ethereum, your Solana, and heck, even your Dogecoin. Stick to them. You're going to do a lot better. Yeah. Like I dislike crap coins more than I dislike penny stocks. So that says a lot. That says a lot for sure. All right, guys. Let's come back to you guys. Let's hit the chat. Let's see what's going on here. Brian, first in the house with a good afternoon, everyone. And we got Roku, afternoon. And what the heck happened to my Green Day? I know. I got my iced coffee, by the way. It's kind of neat. I got one of these metal. It's actually a metal with a sort of a silicone straw thing on the end, but I don't like the cardboard straws. So the metal works, and the silicone makes it bearable. All right. Brian says Bank of Canada and the U.S. Fed. Yeah. So the Bank of Canada maintained our rate at 2.75%. We all knew this was happening. We all knew. Like I even told you guys on the weekend on Sunday. Analysts were saying a 15% chance of a rate cut. And I said, I don't even give them that. So yeah, we knew that was coming. So the market knew that was coming. That's one of the reasons why when we look at that drop we saw today, it's not from that because that was already priced in. That pause, it is priced in, absolutely. Now with the US, you could argue it a little bit. Because with all of the pressure from Trump, a lot of people are thinking, all right, maybe Powell's going to bend. Maybe he's going to bend. And the fact that 2 members of the Fed did vote for a 25% basis rate cut in the U.S., it shows that pressure it's starting to work. It's starting to wear away at the Fed. But we're not there yet. So we gotta see about next time. I believe the next one won't be until September. All right. Paul says Green Day is less now. I know. Rory says red. Thanks, Powell, for angering Trump. Yeah. I honestly, Rory, I think we already kind of expected that. I think this is more to do with the fact that Trump is going ahead with his tariffs on copper, because that's kind of big. It's going to affect a lot for sure. And Paul says didn't affect him's up one day, up 8.6%. Nice. And I think, was it HIMS that you said you had a buy signal on earlier? So that buy signal looks like it might have worked out for you. Brian says, I'm on hold with Wealthsimple. I'll listen when I'm done. I wish live streams had closed cap. They don't? I did not know that. Hopefully with AI, they get to a point where they do that, because that would be very convenient. Holy banana bread. Doorpat says, hi all. August 1st, you mean? Yes, absolutely. August 1st, Friday. So once again, if you guys want me to do a stream on August 1st when all of those tariffs, all that tariff mess hits, I'm more than open to it. Basically 3, well now 3, because Paul has dropped in with the super already. So three more supers or 3 gifted subs, and yeah, we get a Friday show. Simple as that. And it doesn't matter. Like, quite honestly, I think $1 or 99 cents is the cheapest you can do a super with. Like I said, I don't care. I mean, if you do it, you do it. It'd be fun. It would be fun though. Rory says we are going to get a market tsunami warning on Friday. Yes. So there was a tsunami warning this morning. For those of you who haven't been checking out the news, there was I believe it was an 8.8 on the Richter scale, big earthquake off of an island up on the eastern side of Russia. As far as I know, it's like the biggest earthquake we have seen in about, I think 14 years. But yeah, there were tsunami warnings for the pretty much the entire West Coast, as well as Hawaii. Now, as far as I know, I don't think the waves actually made it here at all. But I heard some crazy stories about whales getting washed up on parts of Russia. So yeah, that could have been bad. That could have been really bad. But luckily, and if that had happened, if we had had a major tsunami down the entire West Coast, we probably would have had a very interesting day on the market, a lot more of interesting day on the market. But thankfully not. Thankfully not. All right. Danielle says, hello, Candace. Do you think Amerigo could be a good buy for copper? Or you are waiting to see what will happen on Friday? I have some cash on the side in case there are good opportunities. I like Amerigo, but at the same time, I'm a little bit in a holding pattern. I'm a little bit in a holding pattern for Friday. So with the dip today, I bought one thing. I picked up a small position. It's a swing position in Manulife Financial because they went down quite a ways today. So I'm hoping to, just ride that back up. It's a small little, let's make a little bit. It's not like a long term, but that happens. Now, mind you, I did the same thing. Was it yesterday? Either yesterday or the day before, I did a small position in CN when they went down, and then I rode that back up and made a little bit. I wasn't trying to make a ton. I just doing a little small swing with them, and it was successful. All right. Oh, I see something ahead here. All right, we've got a second super chat in here from Paul. That means that Paul is doubling down on being the GOAT. Doubling down. Pretty cool. But if that wasn't enough, in came the Banana Bread Company with a $2 tariff. A $2 tariff. And oh gosh, guys, I missed the bell. We'll hit the bell in a second. Thank you, Banana Bread Company, for your $2 tariff. Let's get you the GOAT. When we come back from the GOAT, we're going to do our late bell. Here we go. Woohoo! The market's closed. 2 minutes late. There's a lot of employees probably really upset with me at the exchange saying, how dare you not ring the bell on time? Oh boy. All right, now I got distracted. Because of supers. Oh, well, that takes us to 3. So we are 1 super or gifted sub away from a Friday show. All right. Emrit says, okay, exactly. Just wondering what holdings to look at for a decent buy. Silver, I heard, was down and was not sure what might be a good ETF to watch. I'm just looking at what's traded on the TSX right now. Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you. Let me show you something. Let's do this. I'm going to bring us back up here. So one of the things with these heat maps, and we're going to go back here. So with these heat maps, I like looking at them because I can come in here and I can see what companies are down with today. So this is quite literally, I was looking at this and I was like, ooh, look at this, Manulife Financial. And I pulled them up. So you know what? They're in a little bit of a downswing here. Will they go lower? Maybe. But I rightfully expect them to be back up here around 44, almost 44 and a half. So, I'm like, okay, 42 and a half. There's about a $2 swing that I was seeing. And that's kind of the reason I made a small play on that, because for that reason. But yeah, heat maps are great. They can sometimes, you can see, like, here's another one here. Like I didn't grab on IFC, but let's pull up IFC here, financial. So Intact Financial Corporation. And yeah, look at this. This would have been another one. Now, one of the reasons I did not grab, I wasn't really inclined to go for this one is that look at the price. It's $285 a share. So to make a meaningful swing, you gotta put a lot of money into that. Whereas where something with like with Manulife Financial, it's like a $42. So you can make a bigger play with less money on something like Manulife compared to Intact. So this is one of the reasons I love heat maps. They're definitely great ways to do it. You can also, a lot of your brokers will show you the top losers of the day. So if you see, if you go and you look at that list of the companies who have done the worst in the day, and you see one that has sound financials, and it's like they have no business being in that list. Those are the ones to dig into. Take a look at those, see if there is an opportunity in there, because that's kind of what I do for the most part. Unless of course I find something with a channel. So because you guys know I love a stock in a channel for sure. All right, Paul says my HIMS position, I am still holding up 53%, buy at 42.76 with current price 65.55. That's crazy, Paul. That's crazy, but it's a good type of crazy. I like it. Okay, Seabass says, so what are the big events between now and Friday? Talking about things like inflation data, earning calls, tariffs, etc. For the most part, I think all the big stuff this week is out, because the other big stuff, I think there's one more jobs report in the U.S. coming out. But the jobs, I know the JOLTS came out today, and they were sort of showing some weakening in the American job market. So that was another issue today, too. But for the most part, I think Friday's going to be the big thing. We might get a little bit of some jobs data for the U.S. tomorrow. But for the most part, like they also had GDP. GDP also came out, and that was actually stronger than expected. All right. Paul said, let's see, the buy signal was strategy. Yeah, it recently dropped from 240 to 393 and a turn up. Okay, interesting. And yes, the bell, I missed the bell. I know, I did. All right. And I'm going to jump ahead here for just a second. We got Paul in with number 4. Here we go. So Paul has pulled off the three-peat, and almost single-handedly got you guys a Friday market close. So we will be back here on Friday. Simple as that. That was not too painful, and we did it without the night bot. So makes me wonder, do we need the night bot? Yeah, we do. Actually, we'll need the night bot for some stuff I have planned down the road. So yeah, we need the night bot. We do need the night bot. Bell was laid off. Yeah, it's like, yep, laid off the bell. At work now, on lunch off on Friday. Oh, nice. Well, I hope you're having a good day at work, Paul. Let's see. Was waiting to see if XEQT would hit 36. I didn't get there yet. Yeah, I do love XEQT for sure. Claude says, hello, Intact Financial -6% today. Wow. Yeah, exactly. We were just looking at that. So what can I say? Oh, I should bring this here back up. Amrit says, anything in particular for gold or silver ETF? I started a small position in GLCC, and I love GLCC, by the way, to grab a little div from tomorrow's ex-dividend day. I know GLCC people say are a bit expensive regarding their fees. Here's this thing about fees, and I want to talk a tiny bit about fees. Sometimes people get caught up, and here's one of these situations. Oh, I need to bring up, let's see, where the heck is it? This is not it. No, this is good old Blossom. Let's see here. Oh, this might be it here. Yeah, here it is. All right, whoa. Get rid of that. That was from the channel member stream. So yeah, fees. I'm going to bring me in. Yeah, I want text. I want text. Gonna make it nice and big. Here we go. So yeah, when you're looking at a fee, so I look at it this way. When you have an ETF, so let's just say you got your regular ETF, and that ETF is going to provide you with, all right, let's try this again. Command C, Command V. There we go. This ETF is going to provide you with a dividend. And we're going to say, let's just call it a 10% dividend. So this ETF is giving you a 10% dividend. You're happy as can be. All right. And I'm going to put this like this. All right. Now I'm going to say we got this other ETF. And let's just say it's providing a 9% dividend. So we got these two ETFs. And they're both doing the exact same thing. Both doing the exact same thing. So let's just say, for example, they're both investing in the S&P 500, and maybe they both have covered calls. And that's why we're getting some higher dividends. But, all right. But let's add a MER to this. So a management expense ratio. And so for this one here, I'm going to say, let's say it's 1.5%. Yikes, that's pretty high. That's pretty high. And let's say over here, this management expense ratio is 0.75%. All right. All right. So we got these two. And this one here, and let's just, depends on, there's a couple of ways you can look at this. First of all, you can look at it as an income investor, or you can look at it as somebody who is not as concerned with income. So if I am a total return, but I'm just using this for a little bit of extra income in my thing, I'm going to be concerned, of course, with that total return. So I'm going to put a total return here, and let's just say that one is giving me a total return of, let's say 12%. 12%. So I'm getting a 12% total return. So basically 10% of that is dividend, 2% of that is growth. So I'm getting a little bit of growth here. All right. Now, let's look at a couple of cases. So let's just say this one is giving me a total return of, well, if it's giving me a total return of 12%, honestly, what's the difference? What is the difference? Well, you might say, oh, well, yeah, but this one's making more money off of me than this one. True. So this one is making more management fees. So you're paying them more. But if, here's the thing, this is already calculated in this. So this does not even impact that 12%. Same idea with this one. Here's the thing. Here's the story. This one here has a slightly higher dividend. And so it is giving you a little bit more. This one has a little bit less of a dividend. So you're getting a little less income-wise. You're still getting the same total return. Now, you could argue that the reason you're getting that same total return here might be because, you've got a lower management fee. So it's helping to pump this up so it can match this one. Fine. That's cool. But here's how I look at it. I look at the two of these and I'm going to be like, well, okay, this one's pulling off a 12% total return with a higher management fee than this one with a lower management fee. Okay, so what does that mean? Quite honestly, it doesn't mean anything. To me, I'm concerned with that 12%. They're both pulling 12%. So as far as I'm concerned, yeah, these are kind of equal. All right, so let's change it a little bit. Let's say this one has an 11% total return. So I'm getting, in both cases, we're getting both a 2% growth, but this one you're getting more dividend than you're getting with this one. So I will look at this one and I will look at this one and I will be like, well, it's a no-brainer for me. I'm going to go with this one. Yeah, I'm paying a higher fee. But that's all done in the background. It's all taken out long before me. I'm still, when all is said and done, me who goes with the higher fee, I'm going to have more money. I'm going to have 1% more money than somebody going with this who's like going, oh, thank God, this one has a lower fee. I've seen investors in this situation where they're like, they find out that they're paying a 1.5% fee and that this one only has a 0.75% fee. And they're like, oh, I don't want to pay fees. I don't like paying fees. I'm going to switch. Well, okay, that's fine. But you're in that situation, right? Where guess what? When all is said and done, I got 1% more money than you because I don't care. I look at this here. If you're paying a higher fee, but that ETF is being managed a little bit better because it's pulling off a higher total return, well, that you're getting what you pay for, right? You're paying for a better management team, and you're getting better results. And in this, so that's kind of how I look at it. So I know a lot of people get caught up with management fees. And sometimes, and this is one of these funny things, I've seen some people very, very, very happy with their, with their ETF. They love it. They love the dividends they're getting. They're happy as a pie. It completely suits their needs. And then they find out that what the fee is. They find out that they're paying like a 2% management fee on it. And then they're like, oh my God, I can't believe I've been paying that much. I got to find me something else. It's like, why? If you're happy, if it's meeting your needs, if it's meeting your portfolio's needs and you find out it has a higher fee, well, you know what? The better management teams are going to cost you a little more. And yeah, people can argue and say, okay, well, yeah, that management fee, you can take it and you can run calculations of how much it'll compound over the life of the fund or the life of you holding it. Sure, it will. But if you switch to this one with the lower fee, yeah, that's going to compound a little bit lower. But guess what? So is that total return. That total return is going to compound even more. So in this sense, think about it this way. This management fee right here, 1.5%, that's basically 0.75% more than this one, but your total return is 1% less. So by going to this one, in a sense, the compounding is going to be, well, you're going to have a negative 0.25 as your final number. When you do the compounding, you'll find that this one, when you compound everything together, is going to be 0.25 lower than this one, and you're paying that higher fee. So you kind of I always say, take it with a grain of salt. What I do say is, and back to this, if you got a total return of 12 on both of them, well, okay, yeah, go with whichever one has the lower fee. That's fine. For me, they're equal. I'll just stick with whichever one I have. But if or if you got to a situation where, let's just say, if this was a little higher, like 13, 100%, you want to change. So just take a lot of that stuff into consideration. That's all I say. All right, let's jump back in here. Crazy customers in retail. Oh God, yeah. I have encountered some really, really, because I used to manage a department in a superstore, and this was in Calgary. And it's funny, we had our own little area upstairs that we pretty much we only spent one day a week in our area because the rest of the day we were pretty busy. But we did one day a week where we were just doing all of the paperwork and balancing, and because we had to balance off all of our purchases and purchase orders and all of that fun stuff. Otherwise, any of our suppliers wouldn't get paid. But we had this thing, customer complaints. We had a rotating schedule, so that way there'd be a new one of us each time a customer came in with a big complaint. And pretty much It would be, I would, my turns, I'd go down there, I would stand there, and they would scream right at your face. I was just like, wow, like no modesty at all. But, and then we would figure out what we could do to make it right. Most cases, it's just like somebody wants to yell at you for an hour because of a product that they didn't like. It's just like, all right, hey, is it broken? Here's a new one. As simple as that. But sometimes people just needed to do that. So yeah, customers and retailer can get very, very cranky. And I have tons of stories. I could quite literally go on a tangent right now. And by 8:00 tonight, we could get to Sandy's comment, but I'm not going to do that. I don't want to do that to poor Sandy. Sandy says, I bought Intact this morning. Talk about, oh boy, yeah, bad timing. Then decided to buy more since it crashed and burned. Color me crazy. Well, not necessarily. I mean, by buying more, Intact Financial, they're going to be fine. They're going to bounce back. They're probably going to bounce back. They might even bounce most of that back tomorrow. You'll be back in the green pretty quick. What you've done, and this is the smart thing. So if you buy, and let's just give me a second here. Let's bring it back up again. Let's bring it back up here. All right. Let's get out of here. Let's get to my tools. So, if your stock is moving along like this, you come in, you make your buy, and then it goes boop. You got to hate that, right? It's funny. Sometimes that will happen. But here's the thing. Let's say you buy again down here. Well, what that means is that between those two buys, your adjusted cost base is going to be like probably something like that. So the next day, when it bounces back, even if it just bounces back to where it was, well, guess what? Because you bought at both ends of this dip, you've made, well, it's not a huge profit, but you have made a little bit of a profit right in there. So yeah, that's not a bad, I wouldn't color you crazy at all. I'd color you smart. I think that's a smart move. Now, if it were a company that had bad financials, like bad fundamentals, or a penny stock, then I would color you crazy. But I wouldn't say it to your face, though. But yeah, then that would be a different story. But with this company here, I think you're fine. I think there's a good chance they could be back. They could be back tomorrow or Friday. Friday, who knows? Friday could be an interesting day, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. No, that's a smart thing. It's averaging down. Averaging down is not a bad thing. All right. Jersky says, hello, happy Friday. Jersky, you're early. It's Wednesday, my friend. Roku said, did I miss the bell? I did fall asleep for a minute or two, but I did close in the green. Yes, I missed the bell too. I was 2 minutes late. All right. Paul is heading back to work. Good luck. Good luck, Paul. Cowboy is in the house with the greetings all. Emirates says EQ Bank started the day with over 106, now dropped to 103. What's your thoughts on EQ Bank? EQ Bank. I do like EQ Bank. Not just because that I use them, and I do. That's my bank of choice. I think they've been moving in the right direction. They're kind of in that same boat, I think, as Wealthsimple is. Because they're small and agile, they're able to listen and bring in what customers want. EQ is in that spot as well. So is Wealthsimple. I think EQ is going to continue to do well. Now, a lot of people, and I've heard a lot of people say, who is going to eventually buy EQ Bank? I'm hoping not. I'm hoping nobody does, but that's always a possibility. But I think EQ is. I think they're a solid bank. So yeah, I do like them. Yeah, I have no worries. Like I wouldn't be concerned. Like if they go down a bit, that's a good opportunity to get in. More than anything else. All right. Let's get to Danielle here in a second. I just want some water. Coffee. It almost feels like water. Well, it doesn't taste like water, but because of where it's iced, But I will probably be on the iced coffee until I imagine the end of September. Then I'll go. Then it's back to the hot beverages again. All right. Let's go big screen here. Danielle says, I never did the short-term trading like you were explaining. Do you do that on a regular basis? I guess it's in your non-registered. How do you select the CIE and how long do you keep it? So short-term, yeah, let's go right back here. Yeah, so when you're looking at short-term, so for me, it's not really day trading. It's swing trading. So yes, but you do want to do it in a, I'm not going to say non-registered. I'm going to say a non-TFSA. So you don't want to do it in your TFSA because that is a tax-free environment and that is business action. It's, the government will look at it like business action. So don't do it in your TFSA. You can do it like in your RRSP. No problem there. It's perfectly fine because all of that money will be taxed when it's pulled out. Simple as that. Now, if you do decide, I don't care, I'm doing it in my TFSA anyway. If you get caught, they'll take away your tax-free status for the period that you've done it in. So if let's say the CRA comes in and says, in 2024, you were swing trading in your TFSA, they'll just revoke your tax-free status for 2024. So then anything that you sold in your TFSA in 2024, all the capital gains, they would all hit you. So they will get you. They'll get you that way. But they will determine a time period. They don't take it away forever. So it's like if they penalize you for 2024, 2025, you're like this year, you're fine, right? You're back to your normal thing as long as you're not still doing it. Hopefully not. Yeah, it's kind of that fun thing. But yeah, you can do it in your RRSP. That's not a big issue because everything is taxed. So, I mean, yeah, generally, what I will do is, if I'm just going to draw this, like if this is the normal movement of a stock and something happens. So for example, today, that drops it like that. Well, odds are, if it's a reactionary type thing, it's going to come back up and it's probably going to go back into its normal movement. So what I'm doing, and this is kind of what I'm doing with MFC, is I'm coming in here and I am buying some to ride it back up to, and I'm not going to ride it up to here. I just want to ride it to about there. So I'm just looking to make a quick little swing in here. So that's kind of one of those things. And you have to determine, like, if you're looking at it this way, I'm just going to say $42. It's actually $42.50 roughly. And then the top part is going to be about $44.50, but I'm just going to change it. We're just going to drop off the 50 cents off of each of them just to sort of show you've got that $2 there. So let's say that you bought 100. So you bought 100 of these and you wrote it up. You're making $2 on each. So that just basically means you made a quick $200, just bang, like that, because you're buying down here and you're going to sell it up in here. So it's a very quick. Now, let's say, for example, you did, let's say you did 1,000 of them. That's a lot. But if you did 1,000 and it comes back up, you got $2,000. Simple as that. So that's kind of what swing traders do. And this is a different situation. So this is a different, how it's a different situation is, this is because of a big drop today, thanks to, news. It's kind of one of them, you're taking advantage of emotions on the market. So that's kind of that. Now, normally what I like to do is I like to find a stock that kind of, now this here is, I'm just doing a nice perfect movement, but obviously it's not quite as perfect. But when you get a stock like this, it basically creates this channel. And this is what I've been talking about. So in a channel like this, if this has kind of been the normal movement of this stock, well, that becomes what swing traders love, because basically you can buy down here. I'll put a circle here. And you can sell up here, and you can buy, sell, buy, sell. Now, here's the key thing, and this is what a lot of people get wrong when it comes to a channel. So I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. And we'll just say, here is our channel right here. And this time it doesn't go all the way up, all the way down. All right, so there we go. I'm just going to do this as our channel. So in this case, what I like to do, this is the bottom price. So we'll say the bottom price is, let's just say it's 40. This is not MFC. We're just using this example. And let's say their top price is about 45. So let's say that this stock pretty much oscillates between 40 and 45. So what I might do is I might say, okay, well, I know I've got a $5 range here. I'm not going to buy and sell at 40 and 45 because the timing on that is crazy. You would have to be, you might be there for a second. You would have to be very, very lucky. I mean, you could use limits. You might get hit, but look at this one where it didn't quite make it up. So what I'll do is I'll set up, and let me do this here. Let me do this one. I'm going to change. I'll go purple. I'll sort of set up my own little oscillation. So I'll make my own channel inside of that channel. All right. So what I'm going to do is, let's just say, for example, I'll say this is 41 and this is 42, or sorry, 44. So in this case here, I've created my own little channel from 41 to 44. So this is nice. This is a $3. This is a $3 profit channel. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy and I'm going to sell. And that way there, if it goes all the way up, yeah, okay, yeah, I lost $1 profit. That's fine. But this one, this trip up, you'll notice it didn't make it all the way up. I'm still fine. But if somebody was trying to sell at 45, they missed it. They have to wait for another whole cycle. And depending on what the stock is, this here could be, this time period between here and here. I mean, that could even be a month, depending on the stock. That could be a month. It could be a week. If it's a really volatile stock, it could even be a day. But I like to do that because that way there, ones like this, they don't trick me up. And that way there, it gives me a better opportunity. So yeah, the channel within a channel. So, your own little buying, selling channel, that works really, really good. And that's kind of like with, that's what had been happening with Air Canada. We actually did in the challenge, we did 2 swing trades on Air Canada. Now we're sort of have to wait to see where this new channel is on Air Canada because, well, Air Canada has kind of deserted the old channel. It's gone. And that will happen. Eventually, a channel will not go on forever. Eventually, it's going to change. So that's just something to keep in mind. All right. Let's head back. Max is in the house with a good afternoon. Buddha, thoughts on ULTY? So that there is. So I like utilities. And let's just pull this one up here. Here we go. So this here is your YieldMax. All right. So as I mentioned before, I am a huge fan of utilities. Now I believe this is a pretty new one from YieldMax, if I remember correctly. But all right. Now let me see here. Now I'm just taking a look, and I'm not even 100% sure if this one does hold utilities. I'm not sure what it's holding. I know that it uses synthetic covered calls. So I'm going from the name that they probably are holding, well, they're not holding anything, but they're probably simulating holding different utility stocks. That's what I believe. I could be completely wrong on this, Buddha. Correct me if I'm wrong. But here's the thing. these YieldMax, so synthetic covered calls, they're basically they write shorts and longs on both, and it simulates holding an asset, but they're not actually holding it, which is the whole synthetic covered calls. You can make a lot of money on them because you're getting premiums from both ends. Normally most covered calls, a lot of them are what we call out of the money, so OTM. So because of that, you only get premiums on one side. But with synthetic covered calls, you are getting double premiums, so both ends of the candle per se. That's why they have, and take a look, where is their dividend yield? 138.216%. It's crazy. Now, I will say, one thing we don't know yet is we have not seen synthetic covered calls in a bear market. And that's one of the things that scares me. I'm really, really worried about how they're going to respond to a bear market. I hope I'm just being paranoid. I hope I'm being paranoid, but it's a piece of data that I don't have, and I don't like not having that piece of data. I do not like having to not have that. So after the next bear market, maybe my opinion on these YieldMax funds will change. In the meantime, while the markets are still good, yeah, there's a lot of money that you can make here. And I did use, I was using at least one of them in the challenge. I think I actually used the was it the strategy one? I think it was. It was either I think it was strategy. I think I was using that one. Made a little bit of money. Some crazy dividends very fast, but like I said, going into whatever is coming, this could be really interesting. So that's kind of where my thoughts are on YieldMax. But I can't wait. Well, I can wait for a bear market, but there's that curiosity part of me that just wants to see how these do in a bear market. And that's the thing. It's going to be interesting. All right. Mary is in the house. Oh, wait a minute. Before we get to Mary, sorry, Mary. I just realized I wasn't sharing the screen. Yeah, here's the YieldMax right here. So YieldMax Ultra Option Income Strategy. So it might not be utilities because it's calling it ultra. I think it's just holding regular securities, but you use ULTY and it makes my mind go to utility. I will definitely say that. I mean, they probably have some utilities, but I would almost, you know what? I almost think, give me a second here. I don't know. TMX is not telling me what they're holding. So let's actually go to their page. All right. YieldMax, here we go. All right, so we're over here on the YieldMax, 30-day SEC yield. Okay. They're actually showing a distribution rate of 86.86%. All right. Okay, so just US whatever yeah, it's not, it looks like it's just regular securities. Okay. Still, with that name, they really should be holding. This should be a utility ETF. It really should be. Oh boy. Oh, what can I say? All right, now back to the wonderful Mary. Guys, look at this. Hello all. Let's button up. Oh man, guys, the likes must be pretty low because Mary is our official captain of the like button, and she's laying it on the line. I'm gonna have some coffee because you guys are all gonna be busy hitting that like button. Oh God, there we go. So much better. Rory says, doing a little work on my TD investment account after the close. Nice. Cowboy says, I had Canoe. It paid me 10 cents per share. Never saw the fee removed. Didn't care it was in it for the dime. And I got, that's exactly, Cowboy is going back to earlier when I was talking about those fees. I actually was thinking about Canoe. So many people love Canoe, and then they find out that there's actually some management fees going on behind the scenes. And they're like, come on, Canoe. It's like, well, that hasn't changed. You're still getting your dime for every share. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking about. DoorPat says Microsoft and Meta crushed earnings. I'm expecting that. Now, I will point out I am expecting a good day for tech tomorrow. So it could be interesting. So those of you who are adventurous, and I'm probably just thinking of Rory, if there's ever a day that TQQQ might be something to look at, that might be tomorrow. But guys, and I just want to point this out in case you guys missed that video. Well, let's head back over here once again. T, Q, Q, and another Q. There we go. This is a leveraged ETF. It is a bull ETF. And basically it tracks the NASDAQ. But it uses 3 times leverage. So you can make a crazy amount of money on this, or you could lose a crazy amount of money on this. So with Meta, with Facebook, with Microsoft, with them crushing earnings, it could be an interesting day. It could be a strong day, but, and I'm going to put a big but, this is how I will show you how I use this. I will show you how I use this. I don't leave it unattended. So let's say right now I bought in at $24. That 24 is going to move. It's going to move a lot both ways. It's not like a straight up and down. So I don't even get greedy. I might, if I'm getting in at the beginning of the day, it's everything is looking completely up for tech. I will probably throw in a limit sell. For something like, depending on how greedy I am, I might throw it in for 24.10. So that way there, if it zips up to 24.10 and then decides to zip down, hopefully it'll sell my positions in it. That's kind of the way I will go. At that point, I know this is going to go back up and down. I'm not going to just buy back in, obviously. Then what was the point of selling? I will then probably put in a limit buy. And I'll be like, well, depending on if it's still moving up and it's still looking pretty strong, I'm going to say, all right, it probably is not going to get all the way back down to 24, but I might throw in one for maybe, I might try, if things are moving up, I might try something like 24.05. And then if it fires down and hits that, you know what I'm doing? I'm putting in a limit sell. And this time I might go 24, maybe 24.15. And so on. That's kind of the way I will do it. I'll certainly, and I will be watching it. I'm not going to leave it unattended, because if it's a situation where I've bought it and I'm sitting at 24.05 and it's continuing to drop, it really depends. The problem is, and this is kind of one of the problems with this, and this is where this gets really devastating, is that it's hard to put in a stop loss. Because, the volatility is so high that, if you ended up buying, let's say you didn't realize, but you bought here and you put in a stop loss right about there, you could conceivably hit your stop loss and then it turn around and go right back up. So they're difficult. Unless if you're brand new to trading and you have not traded before, then forget these letters. Forget this ETF completely. You're not ready. Go back to kindergarten training, or trading. Sorry, not training. And that's just kind of the way I would look at it. You just want to be you want to be careful. So somebody like Rory, who's kind of, I think Rory's got the idea. Now Rory's been doing a lot of trading with like HOD, which is a 2X, and that's actually an inverse oil. So yeah, definitely. Oh, I've been talking about Rory and I hadn't even brought up his comment, but oh, I just realized, whoops. Here we go. This one. I didn't have this up the whole time. Oh boy, that's hilarious. Yeah, so anyway, this is it right here. So TQQQ, it's a bull, and these are the when I was saying that it moves up and down big, it does. So it's one of those things. And I said my strategy would be like to buy it at $24, put in a sale right here. That sale, $24.10. Then if that happens, I might buy it then at about $24.05 and then put in a $24.15. So just a couple little things. If you're like looking at that and you're like, I don't know where to even start, then don't start. Don't start. These are not for playing around with. I just want to point that out there. All right. Super Chief is in the, I almost said Super Chef, but Super Chief. Good afternoon. Thanks for your nice work. Oh, you're very welcome. All right. I Taco Cat. That's why if you've got zero commission trading, it's always best to spread buys across the week instead of all at once. Yeah, exactly. If you have zero commission trading, you could do things any way you want to. That's the beautiful thing, because it's not going to impact you too much. Because yeah, if you're paying commissions, you're probably in that situation where you want to try to consolidate as much of your buy together. So it makes it a little bit more difficult with dollar cost averaging. So for example, if you want to dollar cost average something and you've got commissions and you want to do it, let's say, every week, I'll just put a W. Well, you're getting hit with that commission each single time, and that can add up big time. So yeah, if you're doing any kind of trading, if you're doing any kind of, if you're doing some smaller time period, dollar cost averaging, that type of thing, you want to be at a broker. You want to be at a broker that's commission free. So, Wealthsimple. Wealthsimple is one like that. Oh, and I even have, I always forget this. All right. I will put the link in here. I got a link for Wealthsimple. If you want to try it out, use that link. They'll give you a $25 bonus. They'll give me a $25 bonus that goes towards the channel. So it's free money for both of us. That never hurts. All right. But yeah, now that's one option. Another option, of course, is National Bank. National Bank, if you're doing a lot of trading, especially on the desktop, if you like to work on your desktop, National Bank is probably even a better choice for that. There are others out there as well. Desjardins Direct Brokerage, zero commission. Quest Trade, zero commission. And I imagine I'd like to see more of the big six, other than National Bank, because they're already there. I'd rather see some more commission-free stuff pop up, but so far we haven't. Andrew saying EQB may get bought soon, and I've heard a lot of people say that. So we're going to have to see. Let's see. Smith Capital is buying lots of their shares and now has shopping money since they sold FN.TO. Oh, yes. That could be interesting. Technically, you can buy any company. And if you buy more than 50% of the shares, you become the controlling partner. It's cool. All right. Yeah, this is a swinger. Yeah, a little bit. Helen is in the house with a hey. Hello, Helen. I think you're new. I think Helen is new. I don't recall ever seeing Helen. And I would remember a Helen because I had an Aunt Helen. She has passed now, but Helen is an awesome name. Bleak says, hey, Bleak, how are you? And Brian says, headphones on and I'm back. All right, fantastic. No closed captions, but you got your headphones. That works. You think we can still catch Manulife, or you think it will rebound back to 44 pretty quick here? I think it's going to be quick, but you know, I'm patient. Like when I moved into that little swing, I was like, well, if it takes a week, it takes a week. Um, but yeah, I think it'll be probably faster, unless the markets decide to do some crazy stuff tomorrow. But the fact that we went from the big red candles into a green candle to end the day, that to me gives me hope that the markets will be back to normal tomorrow. All right. Off topic, but what kind of cold coffee do you drink? This is not, nobody's gonna like this, but it's just Maxwell House Instant. So instead of hot water, I just put cold water and ice and a little bit of cream, and yeah, it's just simple Maxwell House Instant. All right, FN is being bought up by Brookfield and Birch Hills, up dollars so far this week. Yeah, you gotta love it. $6 up. Yeah. Yeah, I had quite literally the other day. I think well, Cowboy was one. I think I got a message. I got a message from about 4 or 5 people. I meant to get back to you guys. I was in the middle of filming. I was in the middle of filming, and I just never did. Oh, it's been a crazy week. But yeah, absolutely. Emirates says, I think for TFSA, unwritten rule is like 30 days. You bought in, wait 30 days to sell and wait 30 days to buy, but a drip is counted as a buy. So yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, if you are buying in your, well, here's the thing. The unwritten rule for me is more or less, if you sell, don't buy back. Like, you can buy, you don't have to wait 30 days to buy again, or you don't even have to wait 30 days to sell. You're probably, now some people will argue this, and this is why I don't like unwritten rules. The CRA is very, very vague. When you actually go to the website, you go to canada.com, they don't really give you, they just say, oh, frequent, if you're doing this frequently. So yeah, but the selling, you got to look at it this way, and this is where logic comes in, right? If you sell it and then, you buy it back cheaper within 30 days, that makes sense to be on their radar. That makes a lot more sense, because that is technically abusing the tax system. You're creating income that way. So that, yeah, I can understand that. But now, if you buy something and you decide, oh gosh, you know what? It's just not a fit. It's not the right fit. You sell it 5 days later. I don't think the CRA will bat an eye at that. It goes down to, and you got to look at it this way too. Even if you do something that gets their attention and they take a look, they're going to look for a pattern. If you've done it once or twice, and I've had people say, oh my God, I sold and I bought it back because it went down. If you did it once, even if they looked at it, they're going to be like, oh, okay, yeah, it's not business behavior. But if you're doing it constantly, you're doing it like every week you're doing it, they'll look a little bit harder at that, and they'll be like, you know what? That's they're making money here. That's business. That should be taxed. That's kind of the way they're going to go about it. All right. Brian says, answer to my US RRSP was that I set up a US account, $10 a month, apply it to my RRSP, and I can hold both US and CAD, and neither will have to convert to keep. Yeah, exactly. Or, and I think you're talking Wealthsimple, if you have a balance that is greater than $100,000, that then becomes free. So they will give you a free pro count at that point. But other than that, you're paying $10 a month. There's no taxes on that. Initially, actually, when they first came out with the Wealthsimple Pro, they charged taxes on it, but then they found out that they're not allowed to, so they had to refund all of those taxes back. I loved it. That was great. Let's see. Wealthsimple does not create US RRSP accounts. I'm pretty sure they do. Well, they did at one point. When Pro first came out, I had, because I remember specifically, I think I was holding Union Pacific in my US RRSP. So, but I'm pretty sure. Rory says, I missed the Air Canada drop yesterday. Did Air Canada have a drop? I missed it too. I didn't even know what happened. I want to look. I want to look. I want to look at Air Canada. All right, let's take a gander here. Look at this right now. They're sitting. Oh, here's that drop. Look at that. 21 to. Oh, interesting. That is very, very interesting. I want to pull this out a little bit here. That is interesting. All right, so I'm looking at these moves, and this is interesting. Hopefully they drop more. I would love to get back into an Air Canada swing. So I want to see that drop more. All right. You just put Air Canada back on my radar, Rory. They're back on the radar. Andrew says, I'm not sure if it's too detailed of a look, but what do you think about SCS? Their recent earnings. I have not actually looked at their recent earnings, but let me, whoops. What is that? Oh, I don't know why that is there. Okay, yeah. Oh, somehow I got an extra page. All right, let me just close that. All right, I want to look. Let's take a gander here. SES. There we are. SES right here. Secure Waste Infrastructure Corp. Let's pull them up. All right, and let's take a gander here. Okay. Oh boy. So let's take a look. This is interesting. First of all, let's take a look at just without even looking at the earnings, Andrew. I see here. Look at this. They had an interesting reaction. So it looks like they went up and came down. They at least wicked all the way up to 1722. So something excited them. Something excited investors initially. But then it went damp. It got damp really fast. All right, let's take a look at the actual earnings. Let's pull this up here. It's red, so we know that they missed. All right, so they did miss by 12.14% on their earnings. So they were expected to come in at 15.9 cents. They came in at 14 cents. That's a lot. That's a big miss. They did beat on revenue though. So yeah, 2.54%. So interesting. I wonder if normally they release the whole thing all at once. I was going to say maybe if they released the revenue, it went up, and then the earnings brought things back down to earth. I'm going to take a look here and see. All right. Secure Waste Infrastructure cut to market outperformed by BM. Let's see. Is maintained at buy. Yeah, outperform. So yeah, nobody seems to be, there doesn't seem to be anything in the news indicating that there's any big issues, but these earnings were, not the best for sure. I would say, and I do like Secure Waste Infrastructure. I would definitely say that this is a good buy. I think they're in a good buy zone right now. I have a feeling they will recover. But they did make it through all of their moving averages. So definitely interesting. Another one to keep on the radar. And Tom says Air Canada is really calling me to swing trade, up 1.7% today. Yeah, I'm hoping they go down a little bit more. Vancouver Isle guy, Kevin saying NVIDIA to the moon. Yeah. And here's the thing, guys. We've got NVIDIA earnings coming up in August, and I think they're going to be crazy. I am probably going to play those. I have right now, I'm feeling NVIDIA is going to have a really good earnings coming up here. I can't remember. I don't know the exact date in August, but it's not that deep into August because we're already deep into tech earnings, and NVIDIA is they're like the showstopper. They always come at the end. So I don't think it'll either be next Wednesday or the Wednesday after. I think it might be the Wednesday after, but it's a Wednesday. So don't miss that show because we'll watch it. I'm going to bring a lot of enthusiasm because I think we're going to see some explosions as that rocket ship just goes crazy. It's like, Mr. Spock, Warp 7. I guess that'd be Mr. Sulu because Spock never really flew the ship. Jersky says, I picked up some CNR and C-Day lately. Any thoughts? Yeah, I did. I rode CNR. I did a little swing on CNR this week. Made a little bit of money, but I also did buy another share of CNR for the challenge as well while they were down. CNR is one of those ones that when they're down, I do buy, and so I've had lots of opportunity, obviously, over the last year. But and C-Day, I do like these Daymax ETFs. Now, I did add one of them to the challenge. It wasn't C-Day. I'll give you a hint. It's a more technical one. It was Q-Day. Q-Day. Now, guys, just to point this out, if you want to see what is in the challenge, you can always check it out over on, well, let me show you. Do I still have it up? Yeah, I do. Over here on Blossom. So Blossom, it is that social media app for, well, for investors. I'll put a link in here. I'm going to drop a link here in the chat for you. All right. There it is. BLOSSOM. Blossom. There we go. Definitely go over there, check it out. Follow me once you get there, because I'll follow you right back. But I have, and you can attach or manually attach your portfolio. So what I have attached to my Blossom is the 0 to 100K. And here it is, right here. Now, I'm going to point one thing out right away. So the next video that comes out is 0 to 1K update. So it's the update video. My numbers are, they're a little lower than what Blossom is showing right now. So there is a little bit of discrepancy going there. Blossom sometimes Blossom just seems to, I don't know. Sometimes they don't calculate, especially if you're doing it manual. Problem is they don't know exactly when you set things up. Now that number, as far as I'm concerned, that number should be fairly accurate. But I also realize that there's a couple of things too when I'm looking at total returns. So when I look at it, all of the dividends that come into the challenge, they get reinvested. And I don't know if they're counting them as as money that was already in the system. Anyway, it's an interesting thing. But the beautiful thing is that you can come in here, you can check, and you can see what I hold. Now, funny thing is, I'm going to point this out. It's embarrassing. But when I was going through the challenge today, every so often I'll come through and I'll double check all of the stuff I've entered. There was actually a couple of errors. There was a couple of errors that I fixed. Like I think I was 5 shares short on CMQ. So there were a couple little ones that I had missed. Probably I forgot to update 1 or 2 on one of the previous updates. But now I've gone through and double checked everything. Everything is completely up to snuff. So you can go in there and I did mention right here. Here it is. Q-Day. Q-Day is in here right now. So it's sitting in here, 20 shares. Now you'll also notice, and this is kind of a fun thing, guys. When you look at Q-Day, you'll see here 20.00. That's so if you're with like Wealthsimple and you got fractional investing, or I think TD has fractional as well as Questrade. You can put in fractional shares. So kind of cool. And now most of the stuff on not everything, but all of the good stuff on the desktop does work. So I am liking it. I'm liking it big time. All right. Also, I haven't seen JJ today, but JJ has started a little a 30-day thing over there on the Blossom, where he's just putting down the stuff that he's learned as he's playing with his portfolio. So hey, if you're a fan of the JJ, definitely check that out as well. All right, and let's get back here. Kevin saying up 300K this year. Holy banana bread. That's fantastic. That is absolutely fantastic. Yeah, Kevin, the thing I love about Kevin is even when NVIDIA, had a little bit of struggles in the middle of all of this, Kevin kept his head high, and because of that, he's up 300K. Otherwise, he could have bailed, taken some losses, and and then it would have been, damn you, Candace, why did you introduce me to that? I don't know if I introduced him or not, but anyway, what can I say? Thanks again, Candace. You are a do. Here we go. Rory says, I have an order to buy CP, but didn't hit yet. I'm holding CN at the moment. Well, let's hope it hits. Let's hope it hits. Amrit, you are not sharing. I know. I got to pay attention to that. I have got to pay attention to that. All right. And yeah, there's the Nightbot because I pulled up that link. How far behind am I? Pierre says, UNH, United Health, is killing me. I was happy when it crashed, so I bought some shares to ride up with it in my TFSA. My plan was to give it about 2 months, but so far, no hope. It keeps going down. Oh, yeah. I think United Health long-term is probably going to be fine, but there's a lot of pain in front of them still. It's one of these ones that worst case scenario, you're going to need to have patience for multiple years with this one. So it's not good. It's not the best. What's the chance of a Canada-US trade deal by August 2nd? Not great. Not great. Probably very, very, very low. Kevin saying UNH pending case is keeping it down. Yeah, there's that too. There's that. There's the whole environment with the US. It'll be fine on the other side, but you need to have patience. And if you have that patience and if you have that faith in their fundamentals, then you're going to have an opportunity to continue averaging it down as it continues to slide a little. But, I think on the long term, like if I was in your situation, I would be holding on. I wouldn't take a loss on this one. Brian, I was on the phone with them. I am transferring a TD US RRSP account. They said the only way to stop dividends from being converted to Canadian funds was to pay the $10 a month to keep them as US. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, but if you have more than $100,000 though, it should be free. So, maybe I don't know how much you're moving, and you don't need to tell us. You don't need to tell us, but oh yeah, right here. I will have about 160K after I transfer my Canadian RRSP as well. So maybe save the $10 then. Yeah, maybe you might have to do it initially just to set it up so it has an account to move it into. So that might be what they're talking about. And then once you've moved that money and you're over that 100,000, you shouldn't be paying any more. And I would even reach out and say, hey, can I have that $10 back? Why not? Cowboy says, be adjusting stuff to have a stack of cash for Friday. See if the orange menace drops the market. Do some buying of the dip. Yes. Well, the jolly green orange head is, I'm sure he is, yeah. We'll see how it all works out. It's interesting though, is that people are not reacting as badly to what he's doing, but today we saw a little bit of a maybe there's a chance we could see quite a correction on Friday, but we'll be here. We'll see what happens. Rory says, getting prepared today for that. See, I'm waiting for my account transfers as that's where my cash is sitting, not paying any $9.99 fees anymore. Yeah, I hear ya. Let's see, Palantir earnings next week. They should be interesting. Yeah, I'll agree. Palantir, I think, is looking to, they're in a good spot. With the move towards defense, they're in a really good spot. And we'll be watching it, especially oil, as it has no tariffs. Yeah, absolutely. Well, keep in mind, anything in Canada, if it is covered by that free trade agreement, it's tariff free. There's a lot of, like most stuff that's moving from Canada to the US is not being hit with tariffs because it's covered. Now, I will point out though, that some of those items there's a whole bunch of rules with the sourcing. So it has to be sourced a big percentage of it needs to be sourced from North America. So in some cases, some Canadian companies are resourcing to North American goods just to keep to make sure that that stays as free. In addition to that, there's paperwork that they have to fill out as well. So in some cases, there's been some companies who just haven't bothered, not caring. But now they're caring. Now they're caring. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. And Brian says, I bought 13 shares each of Q-Day, C-Day, and S-Day with my OAS yesterday and a little bit of cash in my TFSA. Nice. Do you believe PRL to do well in the next while? So the PRL was that Propel Holdings. I do like them. Let's pull them up here. All right. Let's pull up our PRL. Here we go. Propel Holdings. And we don't need that. So the interesting thing about them is, they have access to a whole lot of those, those kind of loan type companies. So let's see, Money Key and Credit Fresh. I think as things get tough, there's going to be two things that will impact Propel Holdings with that. One, there'll be a lot more people who have to use them because there'll be a lot of people who will be making a ton of money, not a ton of money, but who will be in that situation where they need money, they have no choice. So yeah, those type of companies are going to do well. But at the same time, and this is the other part, there will be more people who default on stuff as well. So that, just like the banks, they're going to have that as well. But I think overall, I think they have a chance. Now let's just pull them out here, and you can sort of see here. Let's pull this up. We had this, and then we had this Liberation Day. But yeah, I think they're going to be fine. Now, how much higher can they go? It's hard to say. It really depends on how things go, but I think it could be interesting. All right, let's see. Vancouver says I'd be up 50K. Well, there's nothing wrong with being up 50K. Jersky says I plan on getting some Q-Day, but I'm thinking about picking it up in September or October if the market softens. Okay, fair enough. Let's see. Here we go. Whoops, the fractional on Quest Trade see only for US stock. Really? I did not know that, Patricia. Oh boy. Yeah, that's interesting. That is interesting. I did not know that. All right. Let's see. I was going, now, UNH still a great price though. Yeah, no, they absolutely are. And as I said, a long play, absolutely. Michael is in the house. Any thoughts on Chemtrade for income in my TFSA? Chemtrade. I can't remember. I don't think I've looked at Chemtrade in a long time. Let's just take a look here. Chemtrade. CHE, Logistics Income Fund. Let's see. What are they paying? 6.117. Okay. Not too shabby. Let's take a quick gander here and see what they've done. Okay. They've moved in the right direction. So yeah, it looks pretty stable. Let me just take a look in the back end here. Their return on equity is good. Return on assets looking okay. They do have a little bit of debt, 125% debt to equity, but right now it looks, and they have actually increased their dividend recently around the beginning of the year. But yeah, I would say that they look stable. I have a feeling that I think they're going to be fine. Is it going to be the best income? Maybe not, but nonetheless, I have no complaints about them for sure. 5 years or less will double, probably. King Deuce in the house with a hi. See? Hi there, King Deuce. Rory says Capital Power dropped a lot, 6.8%. Wow, yeah. And I do like Capital Power. But yeah, that's the thing. Earnings will do it. Absolutely. And Cowboy, I will be calling Friday Constipation Day because Trump and Carney are full of, oh boy. There we go. Love it. All right. Well, guys, I finally caught up with you guys. We are going to be back here on Friday. I think it will be an absolutely banger of a show. Coming up on Friday as well, the 0 to 100K challenge. So that will be dropping as well. And we're coming into August. In August, we will have another This Week Conversations. This time we're going to bring in Adriano from Passive Income Investing. We're going to have a conversation with him. That'll be a bonus show. I think it's going to be one of the Thursdays. I haven't nailed down which Thursday yet, but I believe it's going to be 3 p.m. Eastern. So it'll be a little bit earlier, but it should be a great show. And if you can't make it, you can always watch it on the replay. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your day. I am looking forward to Friday. I'm looking forward to Friday, seeing how that turns out. Until then, take care. I'll catch you later.